Welcome into the Betting Pros March Madness live stream on Friday, day two. What an incredible day one that we had, just filled with upsets, buzzer beaters. In fact, folks, that was probably the best day one night that we've ever had in March Madness. Just excitement across the board, and I know there's more coming today. I'm your host, Mike Randle. You can follow me on Twitter at Randle Rant. Make sure to download the Betting Pros app to get all the picks, all the insight here to make your wagers for today as we head into the weekend and get ready to leave this weekend with the Sweet 16. Make sure to go to the site as well, bettingpros.com, all the great stuff. And of course, subscribe and make comments here in the chat as we go through all the games in day two. Now, I think it's important to look back and say, what did we learn from yesterday? There were some themes that came out from yesterday that I think we can apply today. I think you need to be playing well at the end of the year. It doesn't mean that if you're playing well, you're definitely going to advance, but certainly the theme from yesterday seemed to be that the teams that were playing well had an upper hand. For example, Kansas playing well, wins Big 12 tournament, comfortable cover there against Texas Southern. Tennessee playing well, wins the SEC tournament, comfortable cover against Longwood. Richmond playing well, going against an Iowa team that was playing well, but Richmond comes through here with the outright win and the cover because of Iowa's lack of defense. Vermont has been dominating the America East tournament for the entire month. They don't win against Arkansas. They would have beat a lot of teams Vermont where they played last night, but they did end up with the cover, losing by 4. Finally, Kentucky, which has been up and down most of the year. They've been playing well, but they've had spurts where you've sort of scratched your head. They lost twice to a strong defensive Tennessee team, and sure enough, they did here as well, losing last night in a classic upset against St. Peter's. Just legendary stuff. So when we make these picks, it's a Bayesian process is what it is. What we want to do is learn and adjust. So get the information from last night and adjust because it's fluid. With that in mind, let's apply and go at each of the games today, 16 across the board. Game 1, 12-15. Number 10, Loyola Chicago. Number 7, Ohio State. I'm going to take Loyola Chicago -1, -105 and FanDuel. Look, this line has flip-flopped all week, and I was originally on Ohio State, but again, Bayesian process. That Zed Key walking gingerly on his ankle at the shoot-around yesterday. Kyle Young also coming off of injury. Combined with the fact that the Buckeyes have lost 4 of their last 5 games, they're going against a Rambler team that has won 3 games in 3 days for the Missouri Valley title. I'm taking the Ramblers and laying the small number. Now, look, sometimes the bets are going to go in our favor. Sometimes they're going to go against us here. Ohio State is led by E.J. Liddell. It's almost 20 points, 7.5 rebounds per game, versatile matchup. But Chris Holtman's team has struggled to find consistency. This is a veteran Loyola Chicago team. We know about the upsets. We know about their magic run. They beat Illinois last year. They're not going to be intimidated against a Big Ten team. So despite the fact that the majority of bets here and money appears to be on the Ramblers, we are going to go on their side as well. First pick, Loyola Chicago -1. Game 2, 12:40 p.m. Number 2, Auburn -16 versus number 15, Jacksonville State. We're actually going to roll with Jacksonville State here in the Gamecocks, getting 16 -110 at FanDuel. And I don't mind you taking them +9 -107 in the first half. The entire key to this Jacksonville State game is whether 6'10" center Brandon Huffman, who's 9.6 rebounds per game, can stay out of foul trouble. Auburn ranks in the top 40 in the country in offensive rebounding efficiency. The Gamecocks rank top 10 in the country in three-point efficiency. So what you have here with Jacksonville State is a team that lights it up from three-point range that needs to contend inside. If Huffman can stay out of foul trouble, I think that happens. Also, Jacksonville State, very respectable, 17-12 against the number this year. Auburn is just 3-3 in their last 6 games, and that loss to Texas A&M to start the SEC tournament was not great. Jacksonville State is tough on the interior. They only allow 47% from inside the arc, and they are a great three-point shooting team, which always makes us feel good here when we're betting in March. If you don't see Jacksonville State covering the full number, you can definitely grab the first half number as well. Darian Adams, Damari King, Jalen Gibbs, each one of them 38% or better from three-point range. Damari King, 46% from three-point range. They can scorch the nets early. I like this number for Jacksonville State. Remember, they did not win the ASUN tournament, but they do get in as the regular season champ from the other division. I like them to cover against an Auburn team, similar to some of the teams we saw yesterday get upset or not play well, has not been playing great down the stretch. Make sure to put your comments and questions here into the live stream so we can get to that and see what we can do and talk you through some of these picks. Game 3, 1:45 p.m. Number 3, Texas Tech minus 14.5 versus number 14, Montana State. I'm going to lay the number here with the Red Raiders minus 105 on DraftKings, and I also like the under 132.5 on FanDuel. I think the safe teams that don't get upset early on are elite defensive teams. I think they're one of the safer picks, and what we have is one of the nation's best in Texas Tech. Red Raiders ranked number 1 overall in adjusted defensive efficiency per KenPom and are top 10 in turnovers forced. They're facing a Montana State team that was also the best defensive team in their own conference, ranking first in the Big Sky in both 3 and 2-point percentage allowed. So this should be a defensive battle. I think that's what we have here. And that's why I like the under. I just don't see the Bobcats being able to generate enough offense to keep this game close with Texas Tech, but that commitment to defense should keep it under. You're going to see my theme through the picks today. Solid defense from Power 6 teams, going to be tough to upset, so we'll take Texas Tech and lay the points as well as the under. Game 4, 2 o'clock p.m., number 3, Purdue, minus 16.5 versus number 14, Yale. We're going to take the points with Yale. Minus 110 on FanDuel. You can still get plus 17, in fact, for the underdog. This is really similar to the UConn game yesterday where I took New Mexico State. I've been waiting for the Boilermakers to improve all season on defense, and now I've given up. They rank 98th overall in adjusted defensive efficiency per KenPom and an abysmal 346 in defensive turnover percentage. They have a pair of dominant big men, 7'4" Zach Edey, 6'10" Travion Williams inside. Normally that's good, but they've been awful against the spread. Purdue, 13-21 against the spread overall and has failed to cover in any of their last 10 games. Purdue hasn't covered in 10 games in a row. Boilermakers have an explosive offense. We know that. Jaden Ivey's a top 5 pick in the NBA draft, but I cannot lay these points against a good, fundamentally sound Yale team that ranks best in the country, one of the best in limiting three-point shooting. Purdue also shoots a Big Ten worst 68% from the free throw line. So we have Purdue struggling on defense, laying a lot of points, not playing well recently, and shooting poorly from the free throw line. It all adds up to me. If we learned anything from yesterday with St. Peter's, I'm going to take the points here with Yale. Again, get those questions in the chat here. We got a question here. What team do you think is the most upset proof today? Thank you for that question. We will end up getting to that later on, but it is one of these top seeds for sure. I would be shocked if you saw one of our top seeds go down today, but I will get into that a little bit. Similar yesterday to Baylor, Tennessee, those teams winning comfortably, Kansas as well. Game 5, 2:45 p.m., number 2, Villanova minus 15.5 versus Delaware. I'm going to go with Villanova minus 15.5, minus 110 on DraftKings. Listen, Wildcats are a contender for their 3rd national title under Jay Wright because what they have is the same formula they've had for their prior 2 national titles. Senior-laden team. Doesn't turn the ball over, makes threes, defends the threes, plays at a slow, deliberate pace. Wildcats were just 16, 15, and 2 against the spread, but Delaware needs to make threes. They shot 37.2% from three-point range. That's how they have to shoot today, but they're playing a Villanova team that locks you down beyond the arc. Villanova holding opponents to just 31% from deep this year. The Blue Hens are not great defensively. That's not how you're going to beat Villanova, and we're one of the worst teams in the CAA in rebounding efficiency. So Delaware really doesn't carry the type of profile, I think, that's going to beat Villanova. I think they'll battle. There's a little rivalry going on there. Dylan Painter revenge game. I understand all that. But I think in the end, Villanova pulls away, gets us an 18 to 20 point win. I will lay the points here with the Wildcats in game 5. Game 6, 3:10 p.m. Number 7, USC minus 2.5 versus number 10, Miami. Everyone's on USC here. I'm going the other direction. You have to decide, are you going to back the interior of USC, who was 4th overall in average height this year, or you're going to back the dynamic guard play in Miami, who shot over 37% from three-point range. I'm backing the Hurricanes. Cam McGusty, Isaiah Wong, Charlie Moore, each one of them averaging over 12 points per game. McGusty, 37% from three-point range. Charlie Moore, 37% from three-point range. They had great true road wins in Duke Virginia Tech and Wake Forest in conference in the ACC, which everyone's down on. I understand that. But Miami ranked first in fewest offensive turnovers and most defensive turnovers forced. Trojans struggled to contain threes. They'd allowed Pac-12 teams, USC, allowed Pac-12 teams to shoot 39% from beyond the arc. USC also 66% from the free throw line. I hate laying points with favorites that can't make free throws. I understand that USC's tough inside, giving a hot shooting game from Miami. Jim Larinaga, George Mason Magic pulling out the upset here, the outright win, and I will gladly take the 2.5 in Game 6 with the Hurricanes. Game 7, 4:15 p.m. Number 6, Alabama -4 versus Notre Dame. Folks, I am all over Notre Dame in this game. Big bets and money alert. The books need Alabama. The books need Notre Dame, rather, because everyone's on Alabama. Well, if Indiana can't get by St. Mary's last night, I think the play-in game winner is going to be Notre Dame. A play-in game winner has always gotten hot, and I think Notre Dame is that team this year. A play-in game winner has always advanced at least 2 rounds every year since it started in 2011, except for 2019. VCU made the Final Four 2011. UCLA made the Final Four. And remember, UCLA was losing by 10 to Michigan State in that play-in game last year. And sure enough, they were able to go ahead. So in this game, I think the Crimson Tide rank 11th overall in adjusted defensive efficiency in conference. That's no good. Irish have a ton of momentum after that big win over Rutgers. They have hot shooting, solid defensive rebounding. Alabama has not been consistent on offense, and everyone likes Alabama because they remember them from last year. Not the same team. Notre Dame, books are going to win again, just like they did last night in St. Mary's. They need Notre Dame. We're with Notre Dame. I will take the 4 points with the Irish to continue the play-in game streak. Game 8, 4:30 p.m., Texas -1.5 for Virginia Tech. We are taking the Hokies. This time we're siding with the public who are on the Hokies. These are two teams going in opposite directions. Remembering our theme from when we started here, everyone, we're going to go with the hot team against the team that struggled. Texas has struggled. Trey Mitchell left the team. Chris Beard called out Timmy Allen. Marcus Carr, after the Big 12 tournament loss to TCU, said they don't know how to win. Not good. Longhorns blew a 20-point first-half lead against TCU, losing in that matchup. Meanwhile, Virginia Tech, what have they done? Won 4 games in 4 days in the ACC tournament to win the title, including beating Duke, which you know is a tough one to do in Coach K's last ACC tournament. Longhorns won't push the pace, so we have a half-court battle here between Virginia Tech and Texas. I'll trust Mike Young, diagramming it up. Hunter Couture for 3, Storm Murphy, better in the half court versus a Texas team that you can argue right now is dysfunctional. Hokies, +1.5 here against Texas. Moving on to Game 9, 4:30 p.m., number 4, Illinois, -8.5 versus number 13, Chattanooga. We will take Chattanooga absolutely in this game. Normally, when you have a dominant big man like Illinois has, that is the recipe to avoid getting upset in the first round. We talked about this yesterday. In this case, Chattanooga, 5-star former Kansas recruit, Silvio De Souza inside. He is going to battle Kofi Cockburn, and that is what is going to limit Cockburn inside. Now we're up to Illinois, who has had turnover problems, very streaky from the outside. I love the guards here for Chattanooga. Malachi Smith, 20 points per game, 41% three-point range. David Jean-Baptiste, 14.7 points per game, 38% from three-point range. He hit the big three-pointer to win the conference tournament and get him in here. I expect this to be a high-possession game. I'm backing the Mocs against an inconsistent Illinois team. Just like Texas, just like UConn, have not been impressed with Illinois. They've been up and down. They did tie for the Big Ten regular season title, but I don't like how they're playing. And if Cockburn isn't on and gets limited from De Souza, even slightly, this is going to go the Mocs' way. Gladly take the 8.5 points here with another 13 seed. Game 10, 6:50 p.m., Duke versus Cal State Fullerton. Look, Duke is favored by 18.5. I'm actually going with the favorite here. I just don't think Cal State Fullerton has the makeup. They don't dominate in any one specific metric. I don't like Duke. I probably have them losing in the next round, depending on who they play, but I'm going to lay the points here with Duke. I just think that they're going to rally. I don't think Cal State Fullerton is good enough in order to beat them today, so I'm going to lay the points with the Blue Devils, even though they're not playing well, because I just don't think Cal State Fullerton can do enough in order to beat them here. If it's a St. Peter's situation, fantastic. But I'm going to lay the points with Paulo Banchero, Trevor Keels, what I think is a really out-talented Titans team here from Cal State Fullerton. Don't like Duke to go far, but I like him in this game for Game 10, laying the 18.5 points. Game 11, 7:20 p.m. Number 4, LSU -4 versus number 13, Iowa State. Love Iowa State in this game. -110. They're getting 4 points, the Cyclones at DraftKings, and the under 128.5, -110 on DK. Look, Iowa State head coach TJ Alsaberger came over from UNLV, has done an amazing job with the Cyclones. They were predicted last in the Big 12 preseason poll, yet they've battled all year to a respectable 7-11 record in conference. They always control the pace. They always get their pace, and they're good at playing in that particular offensive scheme. They have regular season wins over Texas Tech, Texas, Memphis, and Iowa. That's non-conference and conference as well. LSU brings the 5th best overall defense to this matchup, but they're still dealing with that fallout from Will Wade. I don't like teams with chaos. I don't like Chris Beard calling out Texas. I don't like LSU having their backup coach in this game. They should be great on defense, which is why I like the under in this game, 128.5. But the Tigers rank last in offensive turnovers in the SEC. That's a major problem against Alsaberger's Cyclones team. You turn the ball over, they slow it down, you get frustrated, they score, and they cover. Give me Iowa State +4 here in Game 11 over LSU. Would not be surprised to see them win outright. Don't forget the questions in the chat. Justin, you have one about a favorite 3-team parlay. I will get to that when I'm done. Really good question, sir. Thank you for that. Moving on here, Game 12. This is one, going back to that question before, that I think is the most upset-proof. Arizona -21 versus number 16, Wright State. Great job by Wright State beating Bryant, but the problem is Grant Basile inside. He's the one that has to score, 6'9" forward. He does a lot for the Raiders there for Wright State, 19 points, 9 rebounds. He teams up with Tanner Holden on the outside, 20 points, 7.5 rebounds. This is an Arizona team that is loaded across the board. Arizona, 5th in adjusted offensive efficiency, 18th in adjusted defensive efficiency. They are 3rd best at dominating inside because they are so big and they have a unique style. So here we have a strong Arizona team, one of the hottest teams in the country, with a strong interior, going against an undersized Wright State team. This is a safe play. This is a comfortable cover. Even if Kirk Kriisa does not play, the shooting guard who's had ankle issues, you've seen that on social media, I think Arizona covers, similar to a Baylor situation yesterday, and they cover the number here against the Wright State team. Did a nice job, Scott Nagy. Got over the hump of losing in the first 2 games in the Horizon Valley Conference the last 2 years, but I think Arizona comfortably covers here. I will lay the 21 points -110 on FanDuel against Wright State. Game 13, these nighttime games are superb and could have another great night here. Game 13, 9:20 p.m., number 5, Houston, -8.5 versus number 12, UAB. Look, the 12 seeds have been hot. New Mexico State, we've seen these teams get hot here. You saw Richmond as well. Could another number 12 team upset number 5 team? I think it's close, and I'm definitely taking UAB to cover, +8.5, -110 on DraftKings. Jordan Jelly Walker, 20 points per game, 41% from three-point range. Aggressive Blazers team, similar to Houston, similar to Memphis, and those games were close. Remember, Memphis beat Houston twice. The Blazers excel at forcing turnovers, much like Memphis. UAB's pressure and offensive rebounding rank among the best in the nation and will give the Cougars a huge scare today. Given the Cougars 66% from the free throw line, we have another situation with a favorite laying a decent amount of points that doesn't make free throws. I like UAB in this game. I think they keep it close. If you want to take them on the money line for some nice odds, I have no problem with that. Yes, a 12 versus a 5. I like what Kelvin Sampson's done. He got his team to a Final Four last year, but their style is not unique in this matchup. UAB has no problem getting rebounds, playing tough defense, and that's often the way you pull the upset, like we saw with UMBC and Virginia. It's not to speed up Virginia years ago. It's to slow them down and beat them at their own game. I think UAB's up to the task today and love them as an underdog, +8.5. 3 games left. Game 14, 9:40 p.m., number 7, Michigan State, -1 versus number 10, Davidson. Rolling with the Wildcats. Bob McKillop, superior coach. Love them as an underdog here, +1.5, -110 on FanDuel. Call it the Foster Lawyer revenge game. Yes, the former Michigan State recruit is now Davidson's starting point guard and their leading scorer, 16 points while shooting 45% from beyond the arc. Davidson won the A-10 regular season title, 15-3, and should have won the A10 tournament title. Great comeback there by Jacob Gilyard and Richmond. So they are playing well. Michigan State is not. They've been up and down. The turnovers are still an issue, and they don't have a go-to guy on offense. They have never found an offensive identity all season. I know fading Tom Izzo in the tournament seems a little risky, but I'm going to do it here with Davidson. The lack of offensive firepower for the Spartans, combined with Davidson's elite defensive rebounding, I think the Wildcats, shooting hot from three, Lawyer leading the charge, one and done on defense, have played well all year. Give me Davidson as a slight underdog here, beating Michigan State. Game 15, 9:50 p.m. Number 3, Wisconsin -8 versus number 14, Colgate. A lot of people on Colgate. I think this game is pretty popular right now, getting a lot of tickets. Folks, Wisconsin is playing in the Fiserv Forum tonight. That's in Milwaukee. This Colgate team does not have Jordan Burns last year, who did a lot of damage against Arkansas. We have Big Ten Player of the Year Johnny Davis for Wisconsin. They tied for the Big Ten regular season title at 15-5. I know that Colgate gave Arkansas a scare. Keegan Reckers, Jack Ferguson's can hit it from three. I don't see it today. The Raiders have won 19 of the last 20 games, but they really are outclassed in talent by Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin gets a nice cover here, 10 to 12 points. 8 points, not enough for me. Wisconsin has beaten Houston this year where they shot the lights out. They're going to be home. They're going to pack the place with fans. Colgate, not a vintage Colgate team, but a good Colgate team, now going on the road to Wisconsin. I don't see it, folks. Wisconsin -8 as a favorite at 9:50 at night. And then finally here, game 16, 9:57 p.m., number 8, Seton Hall -1 versus number 9, TCU. Folks, this is my pick. This is my number one pick here. Definitely part of that parlay. I'll get to the other two in a minute. TCU +1, -110 on FanDuel. Love the Horned Frogs. TCU, a bad matchup for Seton Hall. Seton Hall does not shoot it well from the outside. They have to dominate on the interior. The Pirates only generate 30% of their points from beyond the arc. They rank 215th in the country. The Pirates normally have a height advantage of the 5th tallest team in the country. That's negated by the Horned Frogs, who are first overall in offensive rebounding. They are going to limit the Pirates. The Pirates have to come up with another way to score with Kevin Willard and Seton Hall. Not going to happen. TCU's superb dominance on the boards led them to consecutive wins over Texas Tech and Kansas less than 1 month ago. So here's TCU playing in a harder conference in the Big 12, beating Texas Tech, beating Kansas, and then in a game Kansas had to have to get that Big 12 regular season title, they then turn around, go on the road, and almost beat Kansas in Kansas. TCU is a much better team than Seton Hall. Love them here today. Seton Hall looks in the mirror against TCU. They see a better version of themselves. I love TCU to advance as a slight underdog. It should not be an underdog in this game. They should be favored. Give me the Horned Frogs. So let's see. I will go with the 3 teams for a parlay today. One is definitely TCU. Love them in that game. The second one I'm going with is I'm going to go with Arizona -21 for a comfortable cover there against Wright State. And my third favorite pick for the parlay, let's roll with the Fighting Irish against Alabama. Lighting up the skies, playing well, big win over Rutgers. Alabama's been up and down, fitting that theme that we talked about at the start of this, how teams are not playing well. And the play-in game always gets hot. So we're staying with Notre Dame here to keep that going. We love the revenge game. We're excited about it. Folks, bettingpros.com. Make sure to download the app for all your action here. We will be back tomorrow and Sunday at 11 o'clock to talk about the teams battling for the Sweet 16. Crazy day in college hoops, Curtis. You're totally right. We're here. Let's move forward. Mike Randle for Betting Pros. We'll see you tomorrow at 11.